Listen carefully and don't move from where you are, because what I am about to reveal in the next few minutes will explain why you have felt such brutal loneliness lately, why nobody came to help when you needed it most, and why that wasn't abandonment, but the most devastating plan that higher dimensions could design specifically for you. Exactly 96 hours ago, something happened in the celestial courts that hadn't occurred in 4,000 years of human history. God himself, not an angel, not an archangel, not an intermediate messenger. God directly experienced what celestial records document as genuine divine surprise. And what shocked him was something you did completely alone, without a single human being helping you, without anyone validating you, without anyone even knowing what you were going through. Because here is the truth that will destroy every belief you had about why your path has been so lonely. There is a devastating difference between chosen ones who receive constant help and chosen ones who are forced to fight battles completely alone. And you fell into the second category, not as punishment, but because what you are destined to become required a level of strength that can only be forged in absolute solitude. Subscribe to this channel immediately and hit that bell with all notifications on, because what I am about to reveal about what exactly you did alone that shocked God is being systematically blocked, so that chosen ones like you don't discover the real weight of what you accomplished without anyone's help. Stay until the end, because I am going to show you exactly which specific battle you fought alone, why God himself was shocked by your victory, what he said to the celestial hierarchies about you, and what devastating prize is coming for having endured when any other chosen one would have collapsed. Write 999 in the comments if you felt lately that you fought battles so hard that you don't even understand how you survived, and you are ready to discover why God was genuinely impacted by what you did completely alone. We go back 9 months. Something changed in your life so subtly you barely noticed at first. People who were always available to you mysteriously started distancing themselves. Friends who responded to your messages in minutes now took days or simply ignored you. Family members who used to offer help without you asking were suddenly too busy with their own lives. And it wasn't your imagination, you weren't paranoid. A systematic isolation really happened that left you wondering what the hell you did wrong to deserve that collective abandonment. Remember that specific moment 6 months ago when you faced a major crisis and your first instinct was to ask for help. You dialed the number of that person who had always been there for you. And when they answered, you felt something strange in their voice. It wasn't direct rejection. It was something worse. It was indifference, as if your problem that was destroying you was just a minor inconvenience in their busy day. You hung up feeling lonelier than before calling, because now you not only had the original problem, now you also carried the pain of discovering that the person you trusted wasn't really available when you truly needed them. And you tried with others, one by one. And one by one, they gave you the same answer wrapped in different words. I am busy. I am sorry, I cannot right now. We will talk later. Later never came. And you reached that breaking point where you realized something that froze your blood. You are completely alone in this. Nobody's going to come rescue you. Nobody's going to show up with the solution. Nobody's going to fight this battle for you. That night, when you finally accepted, there was no human help available. You cried in a way you hadn't cried in years. It wasn't soft crying. It was complete collapse. It was total surrender to the brutality of being absolutely alone, facing something that seemed impossible to overcome without support. But here is what you didn't know in that moment of total darkness. That isolation wasn't an accident. It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't the universe punishing you for some past sin. It was divine strategy. It was God Himself, orchestrating the systematic removal of all human help. Because what was coming required you to discover internal strength you never would have found if you had a safety net of people rescuing you. That night, while you cried, believing you were completely abandoned, God was watching from higher dimensions, and what He thought in that moment was documented in celestial records. This chosen one is about to discover a level of strength even he doesn't know he possesses. Let's watch if he can do the impossible completely alone. Because what God knew, and you didn't, was that you were about to face a battle that 99% of chosen ones can only win with armies of support. But you were going to fight it without a single soldier by your side. Just you, just your will, just your brutal faith that somehow you were going to survive. The next morning, you woke up and the problem was still there. But something had changed in you. It wasn't a mystical revelation. It wasn't an angelic voice giving you instructions. It was something much simpler and more devastating. You realized the only option you had was to get up and fight, because staying on the ground meant dying. And you started moving, not with a brilliant plan, not with a master strategy, but with the blind determination of someone who has absolutely nothing to lose because they already lost everything they thought they needed. You took the first step without knowing if it was right. You made the first decision without certainty it would work. You made the first move knowing you could fail completely, but you did it anyway. Because it was that, or give up, and something inside you, something deeper than logic or emotion, refused to surrender. And here is what is devastating. It worked. Not perfectly, not immediately. But it worked enough to give you hope that maybe, just maybe, you could do it alone. So you took the second step, and the third, and the 10th, and the 100th, each one without help. Each one alone, each one carrying the complete weight of responsibility on your shoulders only. There were moments when you fell, there were days when the weight was so brutal, you stayed paralyzed, unable to move. There were nights when you begged out loud for someone, anyone, to show up to help even a little. Nobody came, and every time nobody came, you had to make the decision again, give up or continue alone. And every damn time, even if it took hours or days to gather the strength, you chose to continue. Do you know how many battles you fought that nobody saw? How many times you resisted the temptation to give up when it would have been so easy to just collapse? How many correct decisions you made when every fiber of your being wanted to choose the easy path? It wasn't one battle. It was hundreds, thousands. Every day was war. Every hour was combat. Every minute you chose not to give up was a victory that nobody applauded because nobody was watching. Except God. He was watching every second, documenting every small victory, recording every moment when you did the impossible without anyone validating you. Weeks passed, then months. And slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, you started noticing something extraordinary. You were winning. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but you were advancing alone. Without an army, without help, without external validation, but advancing anyway. And you reached a critical moment exactly 3 months ago. It was the day you faced the final obstacle, the last barrier between you and complete victory. And it was so big, so impossible, so devastatingly difficult that for the first time in months you seriously thought, I cannot do this. This is beyond what I am capable of. Any rational person would have agreed with you, because objectively what you faced required resources you didn't have, skills you didn't possess, and help that wasn't available. But you did something that to this day even you don't fully understand. Instead of surrendering to the impossible, something inside you activated. It was as if all the previous battles you fought alone had been training for this exact moment. It was as if every small victory had been preparation for this final war, and you attacked the problem with a ferocity that surprised even yourself. It wasn't inspiring courage, it was pure desperation channeled into brutal action. It was absolute refusal to be defeated after coming so far completely alone. You worked without rest, you thought without stopping. You moved every available piece. You used every resource you had. You squeezed every drop of energy from your body and soul, and when you thought there was nothing left to give, you found reserves you didn't know existed. 3 weeks of total war. 3 weeks where you slept less than 4 hours a night. 3 weeks where every person who saw you noticed something was different, but couldn't identify what. It was intensity. It was determination that transcended normal humanity. It was someone possessed by a will to win that surpassed any logic or limitation. And then, exactly 64 days ago, it happened after fighting battles nobody saw, after resisting when anyone would have given up, after doing the impossible completely alone. You did it. You won. It wasn't a small victory. It was a victory that objectively shouldn't have been possible for someone in your circumstances. It was the defeat of an enemy that required armies to be conquered. But you conquered it alone, with your own hands, with your own mind, with your own unbreakable will. And when it finally ended, when the dust settled, when you realized you had really done it, there were no crowds celebrating, no public recognition, no trophies or medals or news headlines, just you sitting in silence, processing the magnitude of what you just did completely alone. But here is what you didn't see in that moment of silence after the storm. In celestial dimensions, something extraordinary was happening. God, who had watched every second of your solitary battle, experienced something the records document as unique. He was surprised, genuinely, completely. Not because he underestimated your capacity, he always knew you could do it, but the way you did it, the brutal determination you showed, the absolute refusal to surrender even when it would have been justified. That is what generated the divine surprise, because God has seen countless chosen ones throughout human history. He has seen epic battles. He has seen impossible victories, but rarely, very rarely, has he seen a chosen one win a war of that caliber completely alone. Without a single ally, without a single moment of external help, without a single second of human validation, you did it. And that changed something in how higher dimensions see you. 96 hours ago, God convened a council of higher celestial authorities, seraphim, archangels, thrones. The complete hierarchy was assembled. And when everyone was present, God did something unprecedented. He showed the complete record of your battle. Not just highlights, everything, every fall, every tear, every moment you almost gave up, but decided to continue. Every small victory nobody celebrated. Every step you took alone. Every correct decision you made without guarantee it would work. The complete council watched in silence. And when it ended, there was a moment of absolute stillness. Because what they had just witnessed was a level of determination that even celestial beings rarely see. For those who want to go deeper, there is exclusive material in the description and pinned comment. Then God spoke, and what he said was documented word for word in permanent celestial archives. This chosen one did something 99% of humans cannot do with help. He did it alone, completely alone. And he didn't just survive, he won devastatingly. And when God finished speaking, something happened that had never occurred in that type of meeting. The seraphim, beings who normally don't express surprise because they operate beyond human emotions, bowed their heads in recognition of what they had witnessed. It was a silent but devastating declaration. This chosen one just entered a different category because there are levels of chosen ones. There are those with potential, those who develop skills, those who accomplish missions with help. But then there exists the supreme category, those who do the impossible completely alone when everything and everyone abandoned them. You entered that category not by title, not by declaration, but by undeniable proof of what you did when nobody was watching except higher dimensions. But God's surprise didn't end with recognition. It generated a decree that will change the complete trajectory of your life. God issued a specific order to all celestial forces. This chosen one demonstrated he can accomplish the impossible alone. Now imagine what he will accomplish when we finally give him the army he deserves. Wait, did you hear that? The isolation you suffered wasn't permanent. It was a test. It was training. It was forging. And now that you passed the most brutal test possible, now that you demonstrated you can win wars completely alone, now comes the part that will destroy your understanding of what is possible, because the divine decree establishes 3 specific things that will manifest in your life in the coming months. First, within 90 days maximum, people will start appearing in your life who operate at a completely different frequency than those you knew before. They will not be casual acquaintances. They will be high-caliber spiritual warriors who will instantly recognize what you accomplished alone and will want to fight by your side in upcoming battles. You will not have to search for them. You will not have to convince them. You will not have to prove your worth, because what you did alone is already proof enough. They will simply appear one by one, like puzzle pieces fitting into perfect places. And here is what is devastating. Each one of them also fought impossible battles completely alone. God is assembling an army of solitary chosen ones who prove they don't need help, but deserve it anyway. And you are going to lead part of that army. Second, within 180 days, the opportunity you have been chasing for years will materialize, but not in the way you expected. It will be better. It will be bigger. It will be so perfectly aligned with who you became during the solitary battle that you will immediately recognize it is not coincidence, but calculated celestial reward. And when that opportunity arrives, you will notice something extraordinary. You will not have to struggle to deserve it. You will not have to pretend to be someone you are not, because what you did alone transformed you into exactly who you need to be to receive what is coming. And third, within 365 days maximum, you will experience a public moment where what you accomplished alone will be revealed in ways you cannot hide. Not because you will seek attention, but because a victory of that magnitude cannot remain hidden forever. People who abandoned you when you needed them will see what you accomplished without them, and they will experience something that will destroy them internally. Brutal regret for not having been there when they could, for having missed the opportunity to be part of something legendary because they were too busy with mediocrity. But you will not feel vengeful satisfaction. You will feel something different. You will feel compassion mixed with indifference. Because when you fight a war completely alone and win, you stop needing validation from those who abandoned you. Their opinions become irrelevant. Their regret doesn't affect you, because you evolved beyond needing what they offer. But the decree doesn't just establish rewards, it also establishes protections. Because God knows what you accomplished alone will generate massive envy, It will create enemies you didn't have before. It will activate jealousy in people you thought were neutral, and therefore protection was activated that operates on 3 levels. Level 1. Anyone who tries to sabotage what you built alone will experience automatic collapse in their own lives. Not because you cursed them, but because attacking a chosen one who shocked God is signing your own sentence. Protection operates without you needing to consciously defend yourself. It is already active. In the coming weeks, you will notice people who spoke badly of you mysteriously face crises. Those who plan to destroy you see their plans explode in their faces. Secret enemies reveal themselves because circumstances force their intentions into public light. It is not random karma. It is celestial protection eliminating threats before they can touch you. Level 2. False opportunities that would try to divert you from your path will be automatically blocked. Tempting offers that would compromise integrity simply will not reach you. Or if they do, you will feel instinctive rejection so strong, it will be impossible to accept them, even if they seem perfect on paper. Because God knows that after winning a war alone, you would be vulnerable to offers promising to make everything easier. And some of those offers would be traps designed to steal what you gained with so much sacrifice. Protection prevents you from falling into them. And level 3, in moments when you face critical decisions, you will receive supernatural clarity about the correct path. It will not be an audible voice. It will be internal knowledge so strong you cannot ignore it. It will be certainty that transcends logic. And if you trust that guidance, you will never be wrong in important decisions. Because a chosen one who demonstrated they can make correct decisions completely alone without external guidance deserves direct divine guidance when they really need it. But there is something more in the decree that will break your understanding of how spiritual dimensions work. God wasn't just surprised by what you did. He was so impacted, he made an extraordinary decision. To use your story as an example for other chosen ones who are facing solitary battles right now. At this moment, there are thousands of chosen ones on the planet who are where you were months ago, feeling abandoned, fighting battles nobody sees, wondering if God forgot them, questioning if they have strength to continue alone. And God is showing them your story and dreams and visions and revelations, not with your name, not with specific details, but with the essence of what you accomplished, to give them hope that it is possible to win completely alone if they have the determination to continue. Your solitary victory became a beacon of hope for other chosen ones lost in darkness. Without you knowing, without you seeking it, your refusal to surrender is inspiring armies of people you will never meet to continue fighting when everything says to give up. That is the weight of what you did alone. It wasn't just personal victory, it was victory that changed the collective frequency of chosen ones across the entire planet. But here is the question burning in your mind. What specific battle was it that shocked God? Because you fought many. Which one generated divine surprise? It wasn't the biggest. It wasn't the most visible. It was the most silent. It was the battle you fought against yourself. It was the internal war nobody saw. It was the moment 5 months ago when you had the perfect opportunity to surrender to temptation that nobody would have judged. A moment where the easy path was available, and it would have been completely justified to take it. You were alone. Nobody was watching. Nobody would have known. There were no human witnesses, no cameras, no judging eyes. Just you and your conscience, just you and God. And in that moment of perfect temptation, when surrendering would have been so easy, when nobody would have blamed you, when even logical justification was available, you chose integrity, not because someone was watching, but because something inside you refused to betray what you knew was right, even when nobody would know if you betrayed it. That decision, that silent battle against your own weakness, that invisible victory nobody celebrated, was what shocked God more than any external achievement. Because anyone can be good when witnesses are watching. Anyone can choose right when there are social consequences for choosing wrong. But choosing integrity when absolutely nobody would know if you betray it, that reveals character that transcends common humanity. And God saw that decision, documented that moment, and said something to the celestial hierarchies that was permanently recorded. This chosen one doesn't need witnesses to do right, doesn't need validation to maintain integrity, doesn't need an audience to be who they really are. That is absolute rarity among humans. And for that silent battle you won against yourself when nobody was watching, for that invisible victory only you and God know, comes a reward that will manifest in ways impossible to ignore, because secret integrity always generates public blessings, always without exception. It is an unbreakable spiritual law, but there is a dark side to having shocked God with what you did alone. Your enemies in lower dimensions now have real fear of you, because if you accomplish the impossible completely alone, without help, without resources, without support, what will you accomplish now that celestial help has been officially activated? That question terrifies them, because they know a chosen one who wins wars alone is dangerous. But a chosen one who wins wars alone and then receives a celestial army is unstoppable. And therefore, in the coming months, you will experience intensified attacks. Not physical, spiritual, desperate attempts to make you doubt, to make you question if you really accomplished something significant, to plant seeds of insecurity that make you retreat in territory you gained with blood and tears. Prepare for internal voices that will say it was luck, that anyone would have accomplished it, that it wasn't that impressive, that you are exaggerating the magnitude of your victory. Those voices aren't yours. They are attacks from forces that want to neutralize you before you realize the real power you now carry. And here is how you defeat them. Remember every moment you almost gave up, but chose to continue. Remember every tear you shed alone. Remember every battle you fought without anyone applauding. Remember the brutality of what you survived completely alone. Those memories are your armor against doubts planted by desperate enemies, because nobody can take away what you accomplished when absolutely nobody helped you. And there is something else you need to know about what is coming. The isolation you experienced wasn't just a test, it was training. It taught you the most valuable skill any chosen one can possess: spiritual self-sufficiency. Now you know you don't need crowds to validate you, don't need applause to continue, don't need external recognition to know your worth, because you proved it in the most brutal battlefield possible. Absolute solitude under extreme pressure. That self-sufficiency is what makes you a true leader, because leaders who need constant validation collapse when criticism comes. But leaders who were forged in solitude, who learn to validate themselves, who know their worth independently of external opinions, those are unbreakable. And that is what you became without realizing while fighting alone. You became a leader who cannot be destroyed by social rejection, because you already experienced total rejection and survived. You already know the worst case possible, being completely alone against the impossible, and you won anyway. Now nothing can break you, because you already experienced the worst that can happen to a chosen one. And you didn't just survive, you conquered. Within 3 months, you will receive an invitation. You will not know where it comes from. You will not understand why they are choosing you, but it will be an opportunity to show what you learned fighting alone, And when you accept it, you will discover everything you suffered in solitude was exact preparation for what that opportunity requires. Skills you developed when nobody taught you, strength you forged when nobody supported you, wisdom you gained when nobody guided you, everything will fit perfectly. And you will understand retrospectively that the abandonment you felt was actually the most perfect preparation possible for what is coming. Within 6 months, you will experience a moment of impossible synchronicity. You will meet a person or receive information that will be exactly what you need at the exact moment. And it will be so perfectly timed, you cannot call it coincidence. It will be physical confirmation that God is orchestrating your life with surgical precision, that the abandonment you suffered was temporary. That help was always available in higher dimensions, even if not on the human plane. Within 9 months you will face the final test. It will be temptation to return to the comfort zone, to settle in the victory you already won, to stop expanding because what you have is enough. And it will be a crucial test because chosen ones who shock God with solitary victories frequently fall into the trap of conforming afterward, of thinking they have done enough, of retiring from the battlefield because they won their personal war. But divine decree requires you to continue to use what you learned alone to help armies, to transform personal victory into collective movement, to become a general who leads other solitary chosen ones toward their own impossible victories. Rejecting that temptation to conform will be as difficult as the battles you fought alone, because it will require sacrificing comfort gained with so much pain. It will require returning to the risk zone when you finally reached security. It will require choosing the discomfort of growth over the peace of stagnation. But if you reject it, if you choose to continue expanding when it would be easier to stay, then within 12 months you will experience manifestation of abundance that will surpass everything you accomplished alone. Because God has specific mathematics. A chosen one who does the impossible alone with nothing receives exponential multiplication when finally given resources. It is not addition. It is multiplication. What you built alone will be the foundation. What is coming will be the complete building. And within 1 year, maximum from now, people who abandoned you when you needed them will try to return. They will have reasons, they will have excuses, they will have justifications for why they weren't there. And here is your most difficult test. Forgive them without allowing them to return to positions they had before, because forgiving is freeing yourself from the poison of resentment. But allowing them to return as if nothing happened is betraying what you learned in their absence. Some will deserve a second chance in different roles. Others will need to remain outside permanently. You will have wisdom to discern the difference, because solitary battles teach you to read people with precision that only comes from having been betrayed when you were vulnerable. Chosen one, what you did alone wasn't just personal victory. It was a declaration before the entire spiritual universe that you cannot be underestimated. It was physical proof that determination overcomes circumstances. It was a demonstration that shocked God himself, that humans are capable of more than even higher dimensions anticipate. And therefore, for having done the impossible when everyone abandoned you, for having won a war that required armies completely alone, for having maintained integrity when nobody was watching, a decree was issued guaranteeing the next 12 months will rewrite your life in ways you cannot currently imagine. The isolation ended, the training completed, the test passed. Now comes the reward, and it will be so devastating that even you will be surprised by what God prepared for the chosen one who surprised him. If this revelation resonated in your soul, if you recognized your own solitary battle in these words, if tears came while listening because someone finally understood what you went through completely alone, That is confirmation this message was designed specifically for you. For those who made it this far and want to deepen in this knowledge about how to maximize rewards from solitary victories, there is specific material that costs less than a pizza and comes with complete audiobook and 5-minute meditation guide as special bonus. If you feel you deserve to accelerate manifestation of divine decree, access is available in the description link and pinned comment. Write 999 in comments to amplify frequency of divine recognition and activate synchronicities that will bring the army you deserve. Subscribe to this channel and activate all notifications to receive more revelations about how solitary victories generate exponential rewards. Share this video with someone you feel is fighting battles alone right now, because they need to know God is watching. And divine surprise is coming for those who don't give up. And before you leave, click on the video appearing on screen right now to discover the exact signs that your isolation was divine strategy and not abandonment. And how to recognize when the celestial army is about to arrive. Together, we are stronger.